Coach's Corner, brought to you by the Conklin Team here in the Saw Shop with Coach Smith. How are you?
Well, I wish I was a little bit better this morning.
That's right. We're talking now on the tail end of the Kansas playoff, where Shelton, Aberdeen, and Rochester were three teams battling for two spots. Tell me a little bit about how this all works.
Yeah, so we had a three-way tie for third place in the Evergreen Conference with Aberdeen and Rochester. So last night at Centralia, they had the tie-breaking process in the league, and it's called the Kansas tie-breaking system. The teams play each other. You start at the 25-yard line. There's no special teams involved. The only thing that's involved is your point after touchdowns. And we started off with Aberdeen, and we ended up losing that one 8-0. And then we played Rochester, and we ended up losing that one 8-7.
Tough way to end the season. You've played a ton of football over this calendar year with that kind of weird spring football season you had when you first got here. Talk to me a little bit about this overall, what you saw through this whole year and your encouragement for the next season of the Highlimber football team.
Well, last year it was kind of a strange deal with spring football season, playing in the February, March, months. That was kind of getting your feet wet, getting to know everybody, getting to know, the lay of the land, getting to know your team getting to know you, staff coming together, kids coming together, we finished 3-3 that year. There was no playoffs, so you were just playing a schedule.
For a new coach, that's probably the best situation, so you can meet people and just kind of understand.
It wasn't bad, but when kids and players and coaches are bred to be competitive, you're playing for something, right? You're just not playing for pride. You're just not playing to win a game. You're playing for something, And that was kind of a strange year when you knew that once your season was over, your regular season schedule was over. It was over.
That's it,
right? But this year was a little different. We're back in the fall. It was Friday Night Lights, and we had a goal of making the playoffs. And we got ourselves into meaningful games at the end of the year. Last Friday we went to Aberdeen, and we controlled our own destiny. And if we won that game, we were the 3 seed and going to the playoffs. And so playing in a big, meaningful game like that was really good for our program and our kids. Unfortunately, we lost 16-14 in that one. And that created this 3-way tie.
Yeah.
If we just would have taken care of business last Friday, we would never put ourselves in this position. But we had another chance to go in. Our body of work was good enough to get into that 3-way tie, and we went. And now we're playing in another meaningful, high-intensity pressure situation. And unfortunately, we scored on both our opponents. The very first possession on Aberdeen, we took it and scored on the very first play. And then they scored, and then we had to redo that series, and they scored and we didn't. And then on Rochester, same thing. We went down and scored on the very first possession, kicked the extra point for 7. They go down and score, go for 2 and get it, and that was it. And you always, as a coach, you're always questioning all your decision-making process. But the first time we went against Aberdeen, we scored and went for 2, didn't get it. They scored, went for 2, didn't get it. If we would have kicked the extra point then, we would have won.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
You're always questioning yourself and thinking about what you could have done differently or better. But at the end of the day, we didn't make the plays when we needed to make them. We were ahead in both those situations. We needed to get a stop, and we didn't get that stop when we needed to on defense. And the result of that is now our season's over.
How do you practice those high-pressure situations? I mean, in a practice, you run your drills and you learn your routes and you do that. It's hard to build in the fact that, now say if you don't make this, then we're not going to the playoffs. I mean, how do you build
Well,
those
you try to
pressure?
create those, you know, in our practice plans that we have throughout the week, we work on goal line situations, we work on 2-point plays throughout the course of the season. So it wasn't like we didn't know what we were going to do or we weren't prepared for those situations. You know, it's tough when you've got 25-yard line on in. You know, every play is, you got to go 1-0 on every play. You got to win the play. One missed tackle, one mistake, one blown coverage, and you know you don't have any time to recover. You know, both Rochester and Aberdeen were both good running, physical football teams. They both ran. You know, they packed the line of scrimmage, and you know, at the end of the day, like I said, we just didn't make those plays when we needed to. We had chances. We had people there, you know. And, you know, it's a great learning experience. It's great for our kids in our program to be in these meaningful games at the end of the year. And hopefully this will serve us well in the future.
Banquet's coming up next, a great opportunity to reflect and honor those high climbers who are moving on and those who made big gains during this season.
Yeah, you know, you try to make the banquet a positive, you know, fun experience for everybody, get all the families together, get the kids, you know, a lot of times, sometimes that's the first time I really get a chance to meet many of the parents.
Sure.
You know, and things like that. We have our awards at that banquet. We have a meal, you know, and so, you know, it's a good, you know, ending event for a season that I think was disappointing in the way it ended, but I thought it was a solid football season for us. You know, we have definitely room for improvement. The future looks good. We have a lot of young kids returning, a lot of experience returning. So the future is bright.
That's good. Well, I appreciate all the access that you've given us here this season, talking with you here at the stadium, on the field, and whatever we continue to do or can continue to do to promote high climber football, you know, we're all in. So whatever.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you guys. You know, you guys have been a great supporter and getting the message out to the community and the buy-in from the community, you know, has been just outstanding. So appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
This Coach's Corner again, brought to you by the Conklin Team.